Hey, everybody. Are you ready to talk about royal icing today? So, today I'm going to talk about common royal icing mistakes. So, if you missed the live yesterday, be sure and watch that. And there's some pretty good information on my Facebook page that I would love for you all to see. So, I'm going to just talk about some common mistakes. If you hop on and you have a question about um, royal icing, or if you watch this on the replay, then ask away. So, one of the most common royal icing mistakes or issues is cratering. Cratering causes all kinds of problems. Cratering is when you decorate a cookie. It's usually a small icing area, and you let it dry overnight, and you wake up the next morning and check it, and it has a hole in it. And when I first started decorating cookies, this happened to me on one of my very first orders, and I had absolutely no clue what was wrong, and I did not understand what had happened. And so, what happens with cratering is that you there's nowhere basically for the air to escape underneath the icing. So that's one reason. Another reason is that your icing is too thin. And most of the time, it's that your icing is too thin. Another thing that can cause icing being too thin is using too much gel color in your icing can make it too thin. So there's a couple ways that you can handle cratering. One is that you can poke holes in the cookie so that it allows the air to escape. Another thing that you can do is you can put a squiggle of thicker icing under the area that you're going to flood, the small area. So let me find a cookie here so I can give you an example. Okay, my little bunny butt. The feet are very small, and it would be easy to get a crater in those. So what I did is before I decorated the feet, I put a squiggle of thicker icing, and then I covered it with the pie or the flooding icing, and that really helps with cratering. Um, Another thing that can cause cratering, somebody was on here yesterday, and I don't remember who it was. I'm so sorry. And they were talking about using gold luster dust on cookies, and that she was experiencing cratering. And if you mix it with water, and I think she said she was mixing it with the sugar art, but if you mix it with water, water can cause cratering on cookies. So if you paint on cookies, you want to make sure that you use barely any water on your brush because it will eat away at the icing. I think if your gold luster dust is mixed too thin with whatever you mix it with, whether it's the sugar art, color solution, or Everclear, if it's too thin and you put a lot on, it could possibly eat away at your icing too. Now, how can you fix craters once they happen? The best way to do it, first of all, if you can scrape it off, sometimes you can just, especially if it just dried overnight, sometimes you can just use a little scraper and scrape it off and start over. But if you can't do that, what you can do, let's say, let's use this as an example. Let's say in the H, I have a little crater, a little hole in the morning. What I would do is I would fill that in with a thicker icing in white, thicker, like thick. Then I would use a barely damp paintbrush to go over top of it to smooth it out. And then once it was dry, I would take my flood icing and put a little bit more on it and just smooth it out with the paintbrush. Now, you can see it a little bit, but it's much better than having to make another cookie, and usually it's hardly noticeable. So that's one of the biggest issues with icing is cratering. Another issue is color bleed. And I have never experienced color bleed. I don't want to say never. It's possible I've experienced color bleed. I don't recall. So if you are experiencing color bleed, I would suggest trying a different royal icing recipe, because the icing recipe really does make a difference. I have not found that I need to put white in my icing, or white food gel, or clear vanilla. I use regular vanilla. I don't use white. And because I mix my icing for long enough, which means my recipe is about, you mix it about 3 to 4 minutes and it looks like marshmallow fluff. As long as you do that, your icing is going to be bright white. You don't need all that extra stuff. Now, if you're not mixing your icing long enough, meaning you're just combining the ingredients in your mixer, then you are going to have issues with your icing, because you really need to mix it at least 3 to 4 minutes till it reaches that good marshmallow fluff stage. If you are decorating your cookie and the next day you come look at it, hey, Angie, and it looks funky. It's the only way I know to describe it. Your icing looks sort of spongy. Then my guess is you have mixed your icing too long. I remember when I first started decorating cookies, I put my mixer on for about 15 minutes. I didn't realize it was 15 minutes. I got distracted. I went upstairs to put laundry away or something. I don't remember. But it mixed about 15 minutes and I came down and it looked fine. And I thought, no big deal. It's just icing. It's fine. So I thinned it out just like normal, piped my cookie. And the next day I thought, what in the world? I mean, the icing gets too much air in it and it's really spongy and it dries with a really matte finish. It's just weird. So make sure that you do not overmix your icing. Another common icing mistake is adding too much food coloring. So it's really important to use gel color when you are coloring icing. You don't want to use icing that is water-based, because you'll have to add way, way, way too much. So only use gel icing. I use the Sugar Art because I just love it. And you don't have to use a ton to get very vibrant colors, because if you use too much color in your icing can break off of the cookie. You can definitely have color bleed. You will pipe a little design on top of a cookie. Let's use a name as an example. If I was piping, let me find something. Okay, I'm going to give you all another sneak peek of next month's. Here's one of the cookies for next month's set. Next month is a graduation set. And the reason I'm showing this as an example, let's say I oversaturated the icing for the letters. I could have color bleed, but they also could just come right off. I mean, it's weird when you have too much gel color, and that can especially happen with black. It'll just flake right off. So the way to get around that is, when you are creating black icing, to start with a base that is not white. So I'll use lots of different colors, mix them together, and then I'll add my black, and you can get it to black a lot quicker without having to add tons of color. You also can use cocoa powder in your icing, which is absolutely delicious. You want to make sure that there are no clumps in it so you don't have clumps in your icing. And really, it's better to mix it when you're putting in the powdered sugar. But that works great because you don't want your cookies flaking off, or you don't want it to not dry and completely, you want it to be able to dry. Now, another royal icing issue that I see, I teach lots of cookie decorating classes, and I'm trying to find an example. A lot of cookie decorators, when they first start, don't put enough icing on the cookie. They think it's going to fall over the side. They just don't think that they think that they've put enough. They haven't. If you don't put enough icing on your cookie, you are not going to have a smooth finish. I don't have one. I used to have some that I took to a class, but I think I got rid of those. You're not going to have, well, you can look on my Instagram because it's 3 red hearts and you can see what a difference lack of consistency makes. So I'm the Cheerful Baker on Instagram, and it's probably, I don't know, 10 down. It has like 350,000 views, which is crazy. But if you watch that, it will show you the difference between what a cookie looks like with the same consistency icing if you do not add enough icing to your cookie. So I think those are the main issues that I have with royal icing. If you need a good royal icing and consistency guide, I'm going to show you. I have something that you can purchase in my shop, and it is not expensive at all. It's $4.99, and it says meringue powder recipe. I need to change this because I'm going to actually show you what you get. You just go to www.cheerfulbaker.com, and you just where is this? It's under shop, I think, or just put in meringue, or better yet, let me put the link. Let me put the link in here so you all can see the link. Hey, Kelly, are you feeling better? Oh, Kelly, I saw you yesterday on with Nancy for a minute, and oh, I'm so sorry for all you've had to go through. Hey, Mindy, I think Angie already said hi to you, but hi again. And so you can find that, but let me show you what you actually get with that. Let's see if you all can see this. Hold on. Hold on. Okay, no, you can't. So let's take this off and let's put this other one on. Yeah, it's this one. Okay, so first of all, you get my meringue powder recipe, then you get my royal icing recipe, but this is what I think is the most helpful. This gives you my consistency guide. So it tells you how much to put in a bowl and then how much water to add to get to the different consistencies. Stiff icing, 20-second icing, and I hope that that is really helpful to people because many of the issues with icing come because the consistency is wrong. And like I said, I don't get color bleed. And I think it has a lot to do with the recipe. Kelly, I get to start PT tomorrow, so ready to get back to 2 feet again, and very happy to have help to resume teaching a class. Good for you, Kelly. Gosh, I just would be laying around, on the couch still. I'm super impressed. So does anybody else have a question about royal icing, an issue that they face, a common pitfall that they're having with icing? We've talked about color bleed. We have talked about cratering. We've talked about adding too much color and icing not drying correctly. We've talked about mixing icing correctly. So we've talked about a lot of the pitfalls. Anybody else have a question? Now, don't forget that if you are in the Cheerful Cookie Club, which means if you get our Cheerful Box subscription, you are in the Cheerful Cookie Club. I'm doing a training tomorrow night. I think it's at 6. I can't even remember right now, but I sent it to everyone. See, I can look here at the bottom of my page and tell you exactly what time it is. 6:30. It's 6:30 in our subscriber group. We are going to do a deep dive on royal icing consistencies. So if you are a Cheerful Box subscriber, join me in the group tomorrow night at 6:30. Kelly, I bet being in a recliner gets old. I'm sure it does. Kelly, you have any good tips on royal icing? You want to come on with me? Can I get you to come on with me? I'm not exactly sure how to do that. If I can figure it out, Kelly, you want to? Let's see. Hey, Nancy. Good morning. If you're just jumping on, you can watch this on the replay. And okay, Kelly, let's see if we can do this. I am going to, okay. Here, Kelly. Kelly, click on this link. I don't know how else to do it. See if that works. Hey, Heather. Kelly, the link that I just put for StreamYard, click on that if you can. Tell me if you can or can't. This is a test. We've never done it. Good morning from Kansas. I've never been to Kansas. In Texas? Is it hot in Texas? Because it is going to be so warm today in Kentucky. Today is my son's 23rd birthday, and we are going to have so much fun. Kelly, is that link working? You just have to click on it, and then I think you'll come in, and I can let you in, because Kelly has so much experience. So I'm hoping that she can come in and join us today. Oh, hi, Marianne. How are you? Marianne, did you ever do the gingerbread house class? I mean, the gingerbread house thing at back at Christmas at Mustard Seed. Did you do that? I was one of the judges, but I couldn't tell, who. I had no idea who made the different gingerbread houses. I would take 85. I have a feeling that Kelly is not able to get on. If you have another message, oh, that's too bad, Marianne. You can do it. So, here's Kelly. Yay!
Hey!
Yes. This is so fun. I've never done this before.
Well, there we go. We'll just give this a try. So, here, I'll turn sideways. I'm gonna put you on. I'm gonna put you up here.
Nancy, don't worry about that stars thing. That comes automatically on there. Just ignore that. So, Kelly, we've talked about some of the pitfalls of royal icing. Yeah. And do you have anything to add? Because you have, first of all, Kelly, tell the people a little bit about you and your affiliation with Wilton and how long you've been doing cookies, and you're like the OG.
No. I'm not the OG. No. I've just been doing it a while.
you're the OG in our group, Kelly. We've been together a long time.
We have, yeah. It's been fun. So, hi everyone. My name's Kelly Basher. I live outside of Grand Rapids, Michigan. I have a home-based custom dessert business, and I also teach classes. And I'm so excited to get back into the classroom this afternoon. Oh my gosh, I can't begin to tell you. I have so missed it. But yeah, so I was a Wilton Method cake decorating instructor from October of the year 2000 until Wilton stopped their retail education program in 2018. Then I stayed on as an instructor at Joann's, um, teaching Wilton classes that they specifically made for Joann's for their food decorating classes, until March of 2020. But I also, once the Wilton program was done, I started working through local community ed. So I do after school classes for kids, which is what I get to do this afternoon. I've got 5 lovely kiddos that I get back to that I haven't seen since January. So really looking forward to that. And so I do cakes, cookies, cupcakes. I bring everything for them and they get to play. So we're going to do cookies this afternoon. And they told me
How
in
old
January,
are they? How old are they, Kelly?
middle school. So they're 5th and 6th graders.
That's so great.
So yeah, they're fun. But usually the after school programs I do are grades 2 through 6. This school just happens to be 5 and 6. So yeah, so they're gonna be a lot of fun. They're a real quiet group. They don't want to do royal icing cookies though this time. So we're gonna do some easy buttercream ones, which works out well for me. Trying to figure out, it's like this shoulder season between winter and spring. It's like, okay, it's too early for spring flowers. So we're just gonna do some really simple. I'm gonna let them color their own icing, fill their own bags, and choose their own tips. I'm gonna give them lots of autonomy today because that's gonna be easier for me to set up today, given. Oh, hey, that was fun. um, given my limited mobility, with what I can do. So yeah. Oh, yeah. So for those of you that don't know, Lauren knows, but I was a victim of gravity and found some black ice and fell and broke my lower leg in 3 places. So I have plate and 8 screws in my tibia and 2 screws in my fibula. So I had my surgery follow up on Monday and got told I get to go to PT tomorrow. So we're going to start working on it. I think next week they said I can start putting my foot down as I move. Um, I really believed that I was going to be another 4 weeks of non-load bearing and was still trying to figure out what I was going to do as far as teaching for March and if I was going to have to cancel most of my March classes as well, which again, very sad.
You want to hear something funny? When I first started decorating cookies and teaching classes, I had a class and I fell down the stairs and probably broke my thumb. It was swollen. It was incredibly painful right before the class. I mean, literally, I was walking, I was going down the stairs to leave to go to the class. And I forgot like half of the cookies because I was in so much pain.
Oh
And
yeah.
I went and some of the people were so mad at me because I forgot some of the stuff. I mean, I offered to refund them some of the money, and then some
Right.
people were so unbelievably compassionate. But I'm proud that I went because I could have canceled because man, was it incredibly painful. But I would like for you to share your number one tip for, like, think of your students and when you first started, what's a real hang up that you had with royal icing? And
Oh
what's
yeah.
a tip that you could give everybody? Because there's lots of them, right? There's lots of royal icing issues.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's probably, gosh, in all my years teaching Wilton classes, that was always the class that I feared the most. Was the class that I showed them the first week how to make royal icing, went through all the steps so they could see it all, and then the next week they had to bring it in.
Oh,
And it was always a crapshoot. Some people would come in and it would be joint compound, and some people would bring in soup. And it just was a giant crapshoot. So that's always the big thing. So gosh, when you're beginning, when it says when you add your water, make sure that when you measure it, water tends to mound in teaspoons or tablespoons. Make sure that they're absolutely level, because if you have like five, if you need to add like 5 tablespoons of water, if you have a mounded tablespoon, by the time you get to 5, you might end up with 6 or more tablespoons of water in your royal icing, which is going to make the consistency thinner. It's not going to be as stiff. Not a big deal if you're doing wet on wet, if you're doing flooding and things like that. But if you're going to pipe flowers and things like that that need to retain their shape, you've got to get it to that stiffer consistency first before you thin it.
Also,
Um,
I'm going to interrupt you because I
yeah,
just thought of something that's so important. When you are measuring water, use a liquid measuring cup and not a dry measuring cup, because it makes a difference.
it does.
Liquid
Yeah.
measuring cups are usually glass and they'll have a spout. It makes a big difference.
Yep.
So anyway, that's
Yep.
my 2 cents on that.
No, and that brings around the other good point too. Your silverware is not a measuring device.
Yes, true. Right.
I don't know how many students said, "Oh yeah, I just used my tablespoon, my silverware tablespoon," and I'm like, "Oh no, that does not work." And there are beginners that don't know.
That's
Um,
I never thought about that, Kelly, but you're so right. If you have not spent a lot of time in the kitchen,
yeah,
you would think a tablespoon was just something that you grabbed out of your
out
I
the
never
door.
thought about that.
Yep.
Right.
Yep, and that was one of the things. Yeah, the other thing, yeah, you want to make sure your bowl is really squeaky clean, your paddle is clean, the container you're going to put your royal into is clean. That's always good because grease tends to want to break it down a bit. So that's always important.
You want to tell them a good thing to do to clean, make sure it's really, really clean?
Oh, I've always done like a little rinse with white vinegar.
Yes, me too.
Yep.
Yeah. Now I only use my mixer for royal icing only, and I wash it in the dishwasher, so I know that it's very clean. But until I got a dedicated mixer, I did that. Just put just a little bit of, and then I would always, after I did that, I would rinse it with hot water. But that way,
Yep.
you know that it's really, really clean.
Yeah, exactly. Um, Here, another really weird thing. So I have found, so like I said, I'm in Michigan. Generally in Michigan, we have lots of sugar beets. So at the grocery store, you can buy cane sugar and beet sugar. You,
Really,
yeah.
I've never even heard of beet sugar.
Right. Well, because you're farther south, so you probably have more Dominoes or C&H,
Yes,
powdered sugar, where you live. So
right.
I don't think I can find C&H anymore. I haven't looked necessarily.
Uh huh.
But unless the bag says like pure cane sugar, it's not cane sugar. It'll be sugar beet sugar. There will
So
be
interesting.
yeah, they're like the same. They'll taste the same. They work the same, sort of. In lots of years doing our Wilton training sessions, we would need to bring in powdered sugar to have someone make royal icing for us to use. When people would bring in beet sugar, the royal icing never worked quite as well.
Huh.
Especially if we were going to do like a stiff piping consistency to do flowers. Again, for flooding and things like that, or medium consistency, I don't know that it would make that much of a difference. But if you were really going to go for the piping flowers, which is what we did a lot in the Wilton classes, it made a difference.
Wait,
So
is beet sugar made from beets?
from sugar beets, yeah.
Like a red beet?
Not a red beet. I'm not exactly sure, but I know it's a
I've never
crop.
heard of that. That is
Yep.
so interesting.
So yeah, if they go to their store and they see Pioneer sugar, that's sugar beet sugar. Um, I buy my powdered sugar from Sam's Club because the Sam's Club brand is cane sugar. So I buy it in the 7 pound bag. So that's what I use. I buy the 25 pound bag of Domino sugar. Again, does it really make too much of a difference? I don't know. I mean, molecularly, there might be some slight difference, but again, just from habit, I just tend to use pure cane sugar only. I guess
Yes.
that makes me a snob. Mm.
No, that's those are great. Those are great. I'm so glad you came on here because, you've said different things than what I said. So it's great when
Oh
people
yeah.
learn from more than one person.
Yeah. Yeah, that's, even though I've been doing this for gosh, 25 years now, which seems ridiculous. Um I can still learn stuff. I mean, it's amazing the stuff I can pick up and learn from different teachers, different decorators, different instructors. Yeah, it's always a learning experience, and
Right.
yeah, you got to be open to that.
That's right.
Yeah, but those are probably, yeah, and follow your recipe. Everybody would say, well, what's the best frosting? And it's like, I'll be like, okay, what's your favorite color? And it was like, what do you mean, what's your favorite color? It's
Yeah.
like it's all it's all your own preference. What one person likes, somebody else isn't going to like. So it's what you find you like, what works for you for your location. What works for me in Michigan is not going to work the same as for somebody who lives in the deep humidity in Florida, isn't
Right.
going to work the same as somebody who lives at altitude in Colorado. Uh,
Yes.
you
I
know,
in fact, the royal icing thing that I showed just a minute ago that
mhm,
you can purchase has consistencies on it. And I need to put on there those consistencies are perfect for Kentucky. You might have to add a little bit less or a little bit more water, but I think it gives people a starting point because when you
absolutely.
first start, you really have no clue how much water to add. And it takes a while of trial and error to figure that out. Now, you and I can make icing in our sleep. I measure nothing. I can put my spoon in it and know if it's the right consistency by the way that my spoon goes around the bowl.
There you go.
And
Yeah,
that's your
yeah, but even still, I still, because I usually when I do my cookie classes, I work with single consistency. I don't do a medium to do my outlining and then a flood consistency. I just work straight with flood for classes, unless we're
yes,
doing some detail stuff, but because I don't want to mess with two
it's
bags and
confusing. Yeah.
yeah, just don't want to go there. But I'll still, so then I'll take my entire batch and I'll just thin it all in my mixer and I'll think I have it right. And I still have to adjust it.
You
so
know,
so don't everybody think that we're all just like really perfect and just can do it like that. No, I still will end up playing with it and sometimes adding color sometimes will change that a little bit. Even though I use gel colors, it still sometimes plays with that consistency just a little bit and I have to tweak it and add. Put it this way, it's always too stiff. It's always just a little stiffer than what I want.
uh-huh.
um my personal preference to play with royal to do flood work is about a 15 to 17 second icing
Mhm.
because I can work faster. For my classes, I like to have it at about a 10-second icing so it gives them more working time because they're working slower. So
Yeah.
I like to have it at 10 for my classes. So I think what happens is I get to about 13 to 15 seconds and I'm going, yeah, this is good. This is 10.
Yeah.
And I get it out and it's like, no, it's not.
Yeah, last week, I mean, I decorate cookies all the time just like you do, and last week I put some flood on a cookie, and I'm like, well, this is way too thin. And I thought it was perfect. It wasn't. And I had to
Yeah.
put it in a bowl and add some sifted powdered sugar because, sometimes you have to do that. But
Yeah.
I better go, Kelly. Today is my precious Caleb's 23rd birthday.
Well,
And
happy birthday to Caleb.
yes, and so he will be home. He's coming home from college at noon. And I searched for the gift that he wanted. Searched and searched and searched. And I finally found it. I waited until yesterday because I did not think that it was going to be something that was going to be difficult to find. And it was. So I found it at a store that's 45 minutes from here. I'm thankful that I found it. So I need to go.
You do, absolutely. And I've got to start packaging up. I got to get containers of buttercream ready for this afternoon. So there we go.
It's good to see your face. Are you going to Cookie Con?
I am not. I was going to submit to be an instructor
Uh-huh.
and kind of missed that, and then just kind of went, oh, it just didn't work out to go. And I'm almost glad
Bless
I didn't, because I'm not sure how I'd get around real well.
Yes, yes. Well, I'm gonna go, so I can't wait. I'm gonna go as a vendor with Challenge Butter. So I'll
Oh,
be in the
nice.
vendor hall. So if you're watching, come see me in the vendor hall. I'm gonna just have fun.
Awesome, awesome. Oh, yeah, and remind everybody that, did you talk about cookie-a-thon for next week for everybody?
Oh, tell everybody about that while I let my dog in, because I don't know if you all can hear, but she's
Can't hear.
outside at the window going. "Rrr, rrr."
Mm-mm.
You can't
Can't
hear.
hear it all.
Then
Mm-mm.
we'll leave her outside for a minute. Yeah, tell everybody about Cookie-a-thon. I forgot to say that.
I was gonna say, because you're doing a thing for cookie-a-thon, right?
I'm doing two things.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought. I haven't looked at the link this morning. So cookie-a-thon is next week. So it's a great 4-day Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It is free to watch live during the day. It's on Facebook. You just need to register at, I think, what,
I'll
cookieathon.com.
find the link, Kelly, or if you have
Yeah.
the link handy, you're welcome to put it in the comments.
Yeah, so 4 days, I think Nancy was on Icing Images last night. I think she said there are like 39, and there are 39 tutorials that are going to be out there. It's going to be all day, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I'm on Saturday mid-afternoon. I'm doing mine is Fiesta cookies. So I'm doing 3 cookies for my tutorial. And then if you want to purchase the all access pass, you can use Lauren's, because this is her thing. So you can use,
I
you
have to
can,
find the link. I'll have to put the link. I'll
there you
find
go.
the link at some point today, and I'll put it in the comments.
There you go. But you can buy an all access pass that will give you access to the whole set of tutorials that'll be live during the 4-day event, plus bonus tutorials from all of the instructors. Each instructor was tasked with providing at least one bonus tutorial. I was an overachiever. I think I have 8 or 9
Kelly?
bonus ones. I showed how I use my sheeter, and how I use my sheeter. I show how because I hand cut all the cookies because I don't have a 3D printer to print out cookie cutters. So Nancy created some images for me. I hand cut them out. So I kind of show how I made templates to more easily hand cut my dough. And then I did, I think, 7 or 8 other cookies. So it's a whole Fiesta cookie set, because I thought that would be fun for
Ooh,
spring.
I can't
Um,
wait.
so yeah, I used in one of the bonuses, I use wafer paper. Yeah, I use wafer paper on one because there's a piñata. So I figured we need to use wafer paper, and so I painted the wafer paper and made fringy piñata.
Oh,
I have
fun.
Yeah, that one tutorial was 40 minutes plus in length,
Wow.
just for the one pinata cookie. So yeah, this would not be something, this would be something you do as a labor of love because you want to, not
Uh-huh.
that you want to sell.
Oh, I'm gonna do it. So the two that I'm doing, I'm going on for Loran oils because I have every flavoring that they have. I love it so so much.
They're
And so
about an hour east of me.
they are the nicest people. In fact, I did a video call with them and I didn't realize until after the fact that it was the president of the company. He was the nicest, most laid back, the nicest man. And I couldn't believe that it was the president. But anyway, I'm going to do baking basics. Some of those
Nice.
things that we talked about, like, using how to measure flour correctly, how to cream sugar and butter, basics that make you have a more delicious cookie and
Oh
more
yeah.
well.
Creaming butter and sugar. It's like, oh yeah, cream it until it's light and fluffy.
Right. So I'm going to talk about that, and then I'm going to do a tutorial. Where is it? It's one of the ones from my cheerful box, my upcoming box.
Which are so
Be
cute, by the
fun.
way.
Oh, thank you. It's graduation. I don't know what I did with it, but anyway, be sure and watch Cookie-a-thon. It's great, and I love watching it because no matter how long you've been decorating cookies, you learn so many great tips when you watch that. It's amazing.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Oh yeah. I pick up a tip at least every cookie-a-thon that
yes,
it's like
that's right.
why? Yeah.
Yes, and we all. I mean, I'm very thankful that I have been very successful. And someone asked me recently, what do you contribute your success to? And there are two things. One is that I'm a really super hard worker. And two, and this is the most important, I'm a lifelong learner. I take classes all the time. I listen to podcasts all the time. And I think that can raise your level of success because we can't do this on our own. If I had to just um, do things based on what's in here, I wouldn't go very far.
Mm-mm.
So, anytime you have the opportunity to take a class in something that you enjoy, take the class because you just won't even believe what you can learn.
Yep, I'm gonna go to semi retreat next January.
Oh, that
I'm
would be
yeah.
awesome. That
Yeah.
sounds like you'll have to send me the info about that. I might go too.
Ooh, that would be
That'd be fun.
fun. That would
But
be
I
fun.
better go. I gotta go shop.
Yes.
So,
Sorry, I'll end up talking to you all day.
okay, thanks for joining me. And if you're
Well, thanks
watching,
for having me.
thank you for joining us. And have a good day. See
Yeah.
you. Bye, Kelly.
Bye.